Right, in the zone now. Professional head on. Stop swinging your legs.
My feet reach the ground, Dave.
The angles are quite different in your legs of where they...
That's because he's sat like this.
Do you want to look at your postures right now? Like...
Not overly.
Oh, God, yeah.
No, face front. I just want to focus on it.
Do you want to hold it further or do you want me to hold it?
Yeah, if you go somewhere over by the camera. Oh dear. I remember it was like this last time. I kept going, no, I can't see it. I'll have to do it again. So, hello and welcome to NT Labs for our episode 3 of our Subsurface podcast. Joining us today, Paul Hooper from NT Labs, Managing Director. We have Fish Shop Matt, our regular contributor.
Thank you.
And we're joined today by Mr. Alex B.
Yes.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
So that's more than welcome, Alex. Just to give everybody a little bit of an update, really, on who Alex is, if you don't already know. So Alex is YouTuber and Fishkeeping Instagrammer. So I think, really, let's just pass over to Alex and give us a bit of background on yourself. Yeah. What do you do? What's your area of interest, especially in the hobby, that sort of thing, Alex?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been keeping fish for over 15 years. Then very quickly started working in the trade at weekends and stuff while I was studying.
So what, in retail?
In retail, yeah.
Okay,
just
cool, yeah.
Classic fish boy on a weekend.
Fish shop Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an algae boy. That's what we used to call them.
What retail shop were you at?
I started out at Aquatics, which is it then turned to Richard's Aquatics down in Devon. And then that closed down and I moved over to Maidenhead and joined you lot.
Joined the ranks.
Was it your shop?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I don't think we ever really crossed paths in Maidenhead, did we?
No, I was down in Cornwall, so...
And I didn't ever venture down into the darkest depths of Cornwall very rarely. So.
Not many people do.
Hello to all our Cornish viewers.
So which way are you round, jam or cream first? Is that a thing?
The cream is the butter, so the cream goes first.
Absolutely
jam on
right.
Top.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, that's the end of Subsurface.
Thanks for joining us today. We're,
Yeah, you got to spread jam and you dollop cream.
Oh, no.
No, the cream's the butter, sorry. But
Well, there we go then.
well, that's set this up.
Pineapple on pizza, are we going to revisit?
No, let's not do that.
Okay.
No, because we don't want to fight again. It didn't end well for you last time.
No, it's true.
So, fish shop, and then...
fish shop, studied marine biology.
Cool. And where was that?
Plymouth University. So I did that as well. So pretty much from a very young age, everything was focused around fish of some sort. And then when I finished that, I went into sort of working as a lab technician.
Okay.
With a sort of big focus on aquatic animals of various sort of disciplines.
Like, really the benefit of using your degree for the actual purpose that you designed it for, really. You know, there's so many degrees that people study and then go into something completely different. I think there's so many marine biology degrees around. It's a great degree to have.
It's such a fun one to do. I mean,
but they're not able to then travel into the career path that they wanted to, maybe by studying it. So
I think a lot of people, not deluded, but people do end up, I'm going to go and watch dolphins off of the coast, or I'm going to go and snorkel with this. And then I've got a friend who's got a marine biology degree, and he studies algae in a lab. And that's it now. Literally doesn't have any fish, shrimps, nothing. Algae. That's all he studies now. And yeah, he had the ideas of like, I'm going to be off here and there. And
training dolphins.
This is it.
Saving the coral reefs. Single-handedly.
Yeah, it's such a varied job sort of pool that comes from marine biology.
No pun intended.
Absolutely.
the thing is, I guess you specialise in an area, like be it algae or be it, you know, mollusks or whatever, that you just get so blinkered by that you find a way.
Yeah, you find a random job in something that no one knows exists.
No. If you really wanted to go down that route as well, you end up having to do masters or PhDs after your degree. And then you very much are just, what can you get onto? What course is there? Like you, in a place that you want to go to or someone you want to work with. And I didn't do any of that because I hated the statistical side of research. So going into as a lab technician role, I got to be involved and support all those work, didn't have to do any of the statistical analysis, any of the write-up. So it was kind of the best of both worlds for me.
Because the data analysis is the worst bit, isn't it? Yeah. As soon as you get into standard deviations, having to,
Writing scripts to do the statistical stuff automatically.
Matt's like, I don't even know what you just said.
I could not. I wouldn't be able to sit still long enough. Like, it's a struggle for me to sit down for these podcasts, let alone trying.
It's a struggle for us for you. Okay, so these guys have put out on their socials, and we've put out on ours, calling for questions in from you guys. So thank you very much for people that have sent in questions. We're just going to start at the top and just have a bit of a conversation, really, built around about the question topics that we've got. So the first question in from TW Aquatic 7546, question for both young gentlemen. I think that must be... No, it's
okay, yeah.
Probably your height that deceived him, Dave.
You were just a bully. You are a relentless, horrible bully.
You off camera, you're just smarter than me using off camera as a bully. That's what
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So a question for both young gentlemen. If you were to only have one tank and one tank only, what size and what would you keep in it? Love the work, everybody. Big thumbs up.
The size of this room and neons. Because it would be cool. No, I don't. Yeah. Like
one tank, one fish.
One tank, one fish.
That's an awesome question.
It is. It's a hard question.
It is difficult.
I can hear him thinking about it from here.
Yeah, I want... It's so tricky because there's so much that you could... So I've just set up a minnow tank, white cloud mountain minnows, and they are the most classic, old aquarium fish, a bit brown, but lovely silvers and reds in them. I'll tell you what, I can stand in front of that tank for hours and just watch them jittering about and sort of arguing with each other. And that's literally a 60-litre tank and 10 minnows. And it is just such a cool little tank that, I think you could do anything. I think you could do any combination of fish. And when you keep fish on their own, not in a community, you see their behaviour, not the behaviour of everything else that's going on. They're doing this because the tiger barbs are doing that, and the tiger barbs are doing that because the gouramis are doing this. Whereas if you've got one species, it just, I don't know, they look different, they act different, personally. Yeah. So I think you could do it with anything. I think you could do it with anything.
The question's clear and it's on black and white. You have one tank.
One tank. Go on, Alex, you go first.
Stop your nonsense, you.
I like anything.
Alex was going to go first, wasn't he?
Yeah, Alex was.
Yeah, but Alex was, but Matt was like, oh, me.
I've had nothing to do with it.
Sorry, Alex.
It's all right.
Rudely interrupt.
I mean, for me, it would have to be something based around Blackwater and Botanicals because that's what I do and love.
Yeah.
But I'd incorporate plants as well because I think if you've only got one tank, having something that you can tinker with a lot to keep me engaged with it, I think that's important. I like to be doing stuff with my fish tank. So if I've only got one tank to play with, I want to be trimming plants. I want to be topping up botanical leaf litters and stuff like that. And so some sort of combination around that. And then I'd pick a species that works in those sorts of habitats, maybe something like a pencilfish. Nothing too flashy, but like a coral red pencilfish. So it's stand out, it's colourful, it's a beautiful fish, and it will look really good as a shoal. They're quite interesting in their swimming patterns.
That's an expensive shoal.
Very, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you go in one tank, one fish, you're going all out, aren't you?
Yeah. It's not as expensive as like an Ultimate Angel.
Yeah, true.
Get a shoal of those, that'll be worse. So, yeah. And I think just a 90 centimetre, 3 foot sort of tank.
Oh, you wouldn't go like all out?
No, I don't think so.
Manageable. Yeah.
To be fair, you're thinking about it very logically in your house, whereas I'm like, yes, let's have everything. Let's do the whole room as a fish tank. But no, I think you would be right. That would be what you would do. You would have something manageable because you don't want anything massive. But I think if I could only have one tank, I think I'd have a character fish. Oh. I think I'd have something like a 8-foot tank and have like a Fahaka puffer in there, or I can't remember what the red spotted puffers are called now. I can't remember their name now, but there's another red spotted puffer that's just come available in one of the shops near me, and I've been very close to driving up and getting one of them. Not that I've got a tank for it, but yeah. So I think I'd go for something like a character fish puffer or something.
Right. What puffer did you say?
Fahaka.
A Fahaka puffer or Nile puffer.
Wasn't he in Shrek?
That was Farquhar.
Oh, was it?
If you're going to do a height reference.
You knew where I was going with that.
All right, Shrek. I think puffers are great shape, to be fair. They're just like got so much personality, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. As soon as you approach the tank, they're going to come up to the glass.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got a common name. Tetradon pustulatus.
Let's have a look.
Red-spotted puffer.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, very cool fish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't get overly big, not overly angry. But I think just being able to walk into a room with something like that that's almost like having a dog in a tank because they come up and they're like, I love that. I love that. I think that'd be cool. That'd be my one fish.
Would you not get annoyed that potentially it'll dig around in the substrate, dig up your plants,
You
and the whole
crack
thing
on.
would look a mess?
No, because I don't mind.
You'd accept that?
I'd accept it, and I'd also plant it up like, I'd have things on bogwood and rocks all glued onto it so it all grew. I wouldn't probably plant anything into the substrate, and I'd let him have a fine sand so they could bury into it and stuff. Like, again, it's making the tank for the fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's making sure that what you're doing is not necessarily like natural for them, but it ticks all their boxes of what they want to do, whether they want to hide behind some plants or whether they want to graze on rocks or whatever. You then tick all those boxes, don't you?
Mr. Hooper?
I just don't think I'd be able to do it, one tank.
The question is in black and white, Mr. Hooper.
There is no great... I tried that tank and he wasn't having
I'm
it.
not having it.
Turbo.
Am I allowed to change it regularly? Because I think if I went down Matt's route, I'd get
wanting to
bored.
change like goalposts and stuff.
Yeah, I just feel like I'd get bored of the same thing all the time. I just want to change it regularly. So
You don't get bored of your dog, do you?
no, it's a very good point.
That's brutal.
That is. He's a very nice dog, though.
I'm going to change it out this week. I want a different one this week.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think I could do one tank. I would. Yeah,
It's an impossible thing for a fish keeper to say to do one tank. Like, it's hard.
Like we've said on previous pods about journeys and seeing different fish and going like, I want that. I did that exact thing a couple of days ago. I went to a shop and there was you remember the name of it? Starlight Bristlenose. Yeah. Incredible looking little bristlenose. Only like £20 or something retail. And I want that.
yeah.
I want that fish. It's
Perfect
just
black, perfect white pins or spots all over it. It's beautiful.
That's my problem. I'll go around a shop and I'll be like, ooh, that's nice. Yeah, I want one of those.
That's the problem I've got now is like I've got a lot of tanks, but obviously the problem I have as like a creator is I can't buy a fish. Not that you should buy a fish on a whim, but I can't buy a fish and then not make content about it. Because then when it appears in the video in 6 weeks' time in the background and people are like, when did you put that in? Or what did you do with that? Yeah. So my hardest thing now is changing tanks or doing anything. Everything needs to be filmed. Everything needs to be documented because everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know what you're doing with your tanks and they want to see the evolution. So I can't just go and buy, like that red spot puffer. I'm already like, I could just...
Have you ever been tempted to have a tank for you that you've not filmed and shared? A hobby tank that is literally...
Private.
Your little thing. It's inside your house. It's in your living room. Especially when you get your fish garage.
Yeah.
Like, some of your tanks are going to move out there. Maybe having one private one, which you
I don't think I could.
No?
Because
you'd want to share it.
That's the thing. I just want to share it. And I just want to share whether, the water's just gone brown with tannins and I want to use a carbon and get rid of it. I want to show people and not necessarily educate is the wrong word, but show people how to succeed. And I think as soon as I've got a tank, if something good happened or something exciting happened, I want to show them how to do it or why to do it or what I've done with this tank. So I don't think I could keep it secret. I don't think I could.
And that's a great question, but is that something that you've got? Have you got like a private tank that you
No, I don't. It's something I've sort of
got
considered.
rainbow gravel and castles and shit.
SpongeBob.
No fishing sign.
That's it. It's just in the corner. Alex B with his Botanicals, and he's like, my actual love is this.
It's got like a background picture of his own face going like that.
Yeah. He says no, but it is. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
But I don't think Paul answered.
I don't think he did.
I think he's skirted around the question several times now.
Yeah, I think it's impossible. I can't do that. Well, to be fair, one tank is more than what I've got now.
Yeah, I keep, there is still...
There's the space there waiting, yeah.
How beautiful would it have looked if the camera was there and then you just had a beautiful tank sat behind you two? Nice. Wouldn't it be nice?
Still want river tank, do you?
Yeah.
There you go. There's one fish. river tank with a load of...
Hillstream loaches or something like that.
Yeah.
I was going to say rainbow shiners.
I was going to say rainbow shiners.
Shiners
would
are
be
awesome.
nice.
Just
yeah.
the-
Would be nice.
If it's here,
Yeah.
loads of movement, loads
That
of colour.
colour.
Yeah.
And then maybe like zebra danios to go with them. And now we're at 3 species of fish and the question's gone wrong.
I think I'm going to go. I'm going to.
Nobody asked you.
No, TW Aquatic did.
Oh, okay.
I think he asked the young gents.
Yeah, young gents, and you, unfortunately...
Okay, no, I don't. It's fine.
So
I was going to push the boundary slightly and make mine a pond
Oh,
and have koi.
really nice.
So it would just, you could have, because you could then like have several different species of koi, different colour variants, whatever.
Species?
Yeah, I was going to...
Colour variants. Okay, yeah. Okay, carp then, because then you can have several different subspecies. You can have like crucians in there, and but yeah, koi would be cool.
I saw a photo of some cool crucians the other day. Like, I haven't seen proper ones in a while. Someone posted a photo of a load of crucians. I was like, oh, that's nice.
I want to say there's only a handful of pure crucian strains left in
lot
the
of them
UK,
are
isn't it?
mixed
They're crossed with goldfish and all sorts now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
massive across Europe in like for angling purposes. I think they so many different, like you said, sub strains and carassios.
There's a guy I follow on Facebook. Can't remember. It's Jack, and he does underwater wildlife photography. And he done like underwater Britain and all sorts of stuff. And he went round recently, maybe it wasn't recently, but he went round trying to find crosses and logging and photographing all the crossbreeds, and you could see the differences. And he's like, I think this is this cross this, and this is a cross. Very cool, but very nerdy. So probably not cool to 95%. But it was just really nice to see all those different things.
Do you want stuff like that? I love stuff, especially native. I've got a real thing for natives. But yeah, I'd love to sort of share that later on. And a bit like, I think it's a line from Jurassic Park, when nature finds a way. I just, that sort of stuff fascinates me. And that's kind of what I know conversations that we've had historically about, how did we get into it from fishing, but stuff like that. It's just, it really opens up different thought channels and different interest channels, rather than just like aquariums, just aquatic life as a whole. I just adore it.
It's like whenever you walk over a bridge, you can't help but peer over and wonder what's down there.
Yeah, it's the same. If I walk into anyone's garden with a pond in there, I'm just like over in the pond having a look what bugs and what weird things are wandering about, and like pointing out all the different things.
Yeah. Did you take the boy rock pooling?
Yeah.
I bet he's all over it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an absolute nightmare.
Are you the sort of dad that holds his ankles and just drops his head in? What can you see, lad?
Crabbing, they call that, don't they? Yeah.
It won't be long. So me and Martin and Ali, who I used to work with at the shop, we used to go rock pooling on a regular basis. We've all now got young children. All 3 couples have got young children, so we haven't been in ages. And we once spent about 3.5 hours. Well, it might have been longer. It might have been all day. And there was this long rock pool. I say a rock pool. It was probably 3 times the size of this room, but there was a shoal of mullet in there. Wow. We had half a dozen nets, and we were wading about. Our 3 partners were sat on the side watching us trying to herd these mullet into a corner to try and catch one. And we caught one in the end. We caught one, and there's a photo of us somewhere with this, like, I don't know, maybe 6-inch long, 5-inch long mullet.
Is that on not North Somerset, West Somerset? Nilstock.
This is Doniford,
area.
so you've got Doniford, Kilve, and then Minehead. So we were at Doniford, and because it's, what is it? It's what's the beach called? It's like a Jurassic beach. So there's like lots of rocks that come out at an angle, and it just leaves pools in every single one. Yeah, and you just end up with thousands of rock pools.
I guess because obviously we're Somerset boys. You being a Devon boy, you've got rock pools coming out of your ears, literally down there. Is that something that still sort of floats your boat? Is it?
Absolutely. I mean, I often tell people that my degree was actually a degree in rock pooling, because it felt like every time we were out of the lecture theatre, it was right down to the rocky shore, species ID cards, learning everything from the seaweed that's growing there, the snails, to the fish, and everything in between. And I still, whenever I'm at the beach, I'm
It makes you feel like a kid. For me, it makes me feel like proper like exploration as a kid, finding something new.
But I just think it's something that's not done enough now. You know, everybody's lives are so busy and like technology driven and just simple rock pooling or just spending time by the coast. It's just, I think it's so important for kids especially, just to go in with a net and catch a crab. We've all been bitten by all sorts of marine creatures, Daddy. Devon boys. And I just think stuff like that is so important to keep you in touch with the world around you. Pond dipping, river dipping.
I was pond dipping with my niece a little while ago, and I didn't realise those back swimmers, the white ones with the red eyes, they look like a water boatman, but they've just got... Didn't realise certain species can sting and are quite venomous and quite nasty.
But you still took your niece anyway.
Oh no, I had it in my hand. I was showing my niece, and all of a sudden it went, eh. And I was like, oh, and then my hand swelled up. I was like, okay, cool. I've caught them for years, never been stung once, and just this one, I'm gonna have you.
Reminds me of our conversation yesterday about how in the UK we don't have stuff that wants to hurt us.
No, not.
Yes, we do.
But we keep it as pets.
Not to the point of like disaster.
No.
Yeah.
So I've got a kind of another question, and this isn't one that's come in off. But so we've all worked in fish stores. Have you ever been bitten by a fish in a shop?
Yeah.
So where you've been working in the shop and you're like doing the feeding run and you're chatting to one of your mates and Oscar's come up and smashed it. Have you been bitten by anything?
Clownfish.
Clownfish are nightmares.
Yeah. When you got a female clown, they're evil. You get in and start out.
They hit though, don't they? They don't necessarily. They'll bite and they pinch a little bit, but it's like a. They'll swim at you and hit you. They are.
Yeah, I remember a big maroon clown was just an evil.
Yeah.
I censored myself, Steve.
I say no. I wasn't bitten by a fish in a shop, but you might have been bitten by the same fish at Sparshall, that lungfish.
I don't want to talk about that lungfish.
Trying to wrestle the tongs back off of him.
It was an air stone that I was trying to wrestle off of it. Yeah. Yeah, so I went through Sparshall and I was studying like the river management, the fishery management. Ornamental wasn't really an area of interest for me at that time. And I think it was the first day we were there, and our class group was being guided around the fish house by Sean Leonard, I believe. Might have been Sean, might have been Jane, I can't remember. It's a long time ago. We're being guided around the fish house, and there's this lungfish, and they're talking so affectionately about it. These guys love this lungfish, and I've gone like, didn't do anything, so I've got an air stone and just waggled it in front of it, and this lungfish just gone. I'm like, Sean, I pulled it, and the airlines come out, and oh no! Fortunately, I got the air stone out of the lungfish, but yeah.
No, I think I haven't been bitten by anything like that drew blood or anything like that. I got bitten by a tilapia buttercofferi, the big black and white striped ones, and that was like someone hitting me with a pair of pliers because its face was just bone and it bit me, and it just felt like someone had gripped hold my finger with a pair of pliers. That was fairly nasty. And then it wasn't a bite, but I once rubbed an anemone like stinging cell.
Is that just for fun?
Yeah, I rubbed it in my eye.
Oh,
so.
Why?
Yeah,
only fish shop, Matt.
Yeah, only me. So I caught out an anemone for a customer, and it left. I could see it under the blue light. I could see the little like stinging cells. I don't know what they are, but I could see them where it had grabbed hold of me and tried to attack me. I could see it in my hand, and I'm like, oh, God, go wash all of that off. So I washed all my hands off, went back under the blue light, and they were fluorescing green. I could see them, and I'm like, okay, wash again. And I went through about 3 times, washed my hands, washed them all off. And about half an hour later, I was just like, better go out in a minute. And I was like, oh. And then my eye went, whoa. And it was so painful. But yeah, I rubbed some form of either the mucus, the stinging cell, or something from an anemone into my eye. So I'm lucky I didn't lose my eye. But yeah, not bitten, but certainly wasn't the most pleasant of things.
Yeah, I must admit I've been bitten by a few things. I think that's more my carelessness than
what, dangling your finger in front of a lungfish, not an air stone.
I got electric shock off an electric catfish. This again, I don't think they're allowed in the UK anymore. This was years and years and years ago. Feeding some bloodworm into this electric catfish tank, and one of the lads that I worked with called me from behind. So I've gone, yeah, and this thing's come up from underneath the stone, wrapped its tentacles around my finger and given me a shock. I'm like, ah!
Yeah, I think that's what always happens though in a fish shop, isn't it? It's always the way that you're doing something and someone, excuse me, could you tell me about these neon? Like the amount of stories I've heard of, like my old manager when I first started at 17 got bitten by our arowana that used to be in the stingray tank, 3-foot arowana, and he's feeding it. Customer or someone, staff member's like, oh, can you sort this out? Looks round, and then all of a sudden the arowana's over the back of his hand, and it's just like, and he was a proper silver arowana, probably about 3 foot at that point, and that was nasty. I remember there was another one that was a mantis shrimp, and someone was like, oh, excuse me, what fish are these? And the mantis shrimp clouted and broke the guy's finger.
Yeah, because they're brutal, aren't they?
Yeah, well, there's two, isn't there? There's a spearing mantis shrimp that stabs, and then there's a hammer, so it's just got like a club. And yeah, that was a club one.
I've been in like fish shops before and in fish houses and gone, what's that noise? Oh, it's the mantis shrimp in the tank in the corner, and he's proper like kicking off.
Yeah. So yeah, it does. It's always when you're distracted though. Don't get distracted around big fish.
I mean, it causes a lot of floods as well, getting distracted in the shop.
Oh yeah.
Did you
have a tap running? Someone starts a conversation. It's got 5 minutes, but the conversation took 10 minutes, and then.
Or the opposite happens when you're draining them, and all of a sudden you think, what's that noise? Oh no!
Pump grinding.
I think every fish shop in the country has got a member of staff called Noah. It's just floods. Anything they do, your water change, don't let Noah do it. Yeah. It's going to flood the shop again.
It is that we used to have a rule that whoever flooded the shop had to buy everyone who's working the next day McDonald's breakfast on the way in. And then it started to get like, I remember one day I flooded the shop and it cost me 32 quid.
Because there was like, available.
Yeah, there was like 6 or 7 people working the next day, so I had to have the McDonald's order. And I'm like, we're stopping this now. This is it. This is the last one. I was the manager, so I'm like, this is the last one we're doing. We're not doing this anymore. No.
That's brilliant, to be fair.
It wasn't good. Well, it was all right when there was 2 or 3 of you working, because you're like, oh yeah, a couple of McMuffins sort of thing, you're all right. So it's 5-6 quid. And yeah, as soon as I woke up, I think I flooded on the Friday. Saturday, there was like 6 of us working. I'm like, hang on. No. This isn't good.
Yeah. Schoolboy error.
Yeah, I don't think I got paid that day.
Not surprised. No. I'm sure, yeah. Okay, so it's like digression in that question, but thank you very much, CW Aquatics. On to @DavidJohnson3066. Is Biohome filter media good for planted tanks? As it will harbour beneficial bacteria and it will consume nitrates, which will possibly starve the plants.
Have you ever used it?
No,
I haven't either. So I'm not sure I can really comment too much.
I don't think it would affect. Like, as long as you're putting plant food in, I don't think it would affect it that much. And like, there's so many other elements to plants that they need, like good lighting. Like I find most of the time, good lighting starts the plants off way better than anything else. But it's a combination of things. So I don't think it would bother it that much.
I think as long as you're adding it back in.
Yeah, some sort of mineral and nutrient and stuff.
Yeah. I feel like plants actually they prefer to use ammonia, not nitrate anyway, as a source for their nitrogen. They're more efficient when they're using ammonia. So actually they may be trying to target the fish waste before it's even processed by the Biome anyway. So by the time it gets to the nitrates, the plants have probably already got everything they needed from the ammonia stage of the cycle, and then any nitrates lost by Biome would be.
So I know your area of passion, if you like, Alex, is Blackwater aquariums. I mean, how do you manage the whole ecosystem? Is it something that you really go into deeply, or do you just just like let it get on with itself?
I like to take a hands off approach. Yeah, pretty much.
I'll see you in a week.
Drop the leaves in, run away. Let it do its stuff. And
do you use any particular stocking densities? Or
I always stock lighter because you've got all this organic matter breaking down. The biofilm bacteria that are growing on that are using up oxygen. So that's competing with the fish for oxygen and your oxygen demand of your whole tank. You don't want too much water movement because it's just going to kick all your leaf litter up. So you don't have loads of surface agitation. You don't have loads of oxygen diffusing into your water. So I look at it more of an oxygen rather than waste management. But I always stock lightly for that reason, because I don't, again, you do a few 2 extra leaves one time when you're topping up, and you've increased your bioload by a lot, and then your oxygen demand by a lot, and that's then you see people having horror stories of fish gasping at the surface after adding new botanicals, and it's potentially the oxygen rather than...
Just because you've put the BOD up?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. You get a massive influx of bacteria and fungi all using all that oxygen that's limited.
I must admit, it's a part of the hobby that I've never ventured down, and I think we've said in previous like conversations that I want a couple of cube tanks in my dining room, and it's something I might, because I've not done it. I just have no experience of Blackwater and botanicals and all that sort of side of things, and I know it's really popular.
Yeah, it's really grown recently. The amount of botanicals that are available to buy as well is massively grown. And where you can get them, they're everywhere now. You go into the shops and they're on the shelf. You never used to.
Yeah,
you might
crazy.
get catappa leaves, maybe, back in the day, for fish breeders mostly, rather than for actual ornamental reasons. But now everything's there at your fingertips, ready to use.
And is all of your content built around Blackwater?
No, I've got some sort of more breeding style tanks and quarantine style tanks, and I also have one just pure planted aquascape that has no botanicals and no Blackwater. It's clear. So I like to mix it up. I do a bit of everything.
I think there's a fine line between like botanical, nature style, biotope. It's all there's a sort of, I think you just do what you want to do, don't you? And you have a bit of fun. Because some of your tanks, like, I think your Zebradanio tank wasn't heavy botanicals, but there was a few botanicals in there that just sort of naturalised the aquarium.
And no tint, no colour in the water. It was clear water because their streams are quite fast flowing. So the tannin acids don't generally build up there. So they've got moving water. Where you're seeing the dark waters is still stagnant swamps. That's where you get the dark colour. When there's any movement, you're getting rainfall coming from higher up. It's flushing it through, and you're not, even if there's leaf litter there, you're not necessarily getting the dark colour to the water. So again, if you're going down the biotope route, it's really important to know where those fish are coming from. I've got a lovely group of knife fish, a small knife fish from southern Brazil, northern Argentina. And again, they have leaf litter and stuff, but actually all the scientific papers about their rivers say they're in clear water habitats. They're not Blackwater. So although they are sort of suited for finding little invertebrates and stuff in leaf litter, and that's how they feed, they don't have that dark coloured water to go with it. So
I think it's something I really want to look at more from a personal side of things, because I think you're keeping an ecosystem, aren't you, rather than an aquarium where we're all striving to keep a clean aquarium with the best water quality and like glass is perfectly clear and everything, but actually you're trying to make it a bit more natural and a bit more puddly and a bit more, like you said, little critters crawling around.
Some really great examples out there of people that still have beautiful rimless aquascapes with the glass is clear.
Sorry, I'm glass now. I've gone. You said rimless and that was it. Sorry, Alex.
Braceless? Should I say braceless? Yeah. Okay. Those braceless tanks with perfectly clear, crystal clear glass. You're still not concentrating, so I'm just going to give up for 10 minutes.
And Dave's left the room.
Have a word.
I've had a word. I've given my head a little wobble. Yeah. Braceless top, yeah.
Yeah, not topless.
Not topless. That's it, I'm done. You're going to need to find somebody else to go into the next one, Rubes. Jono, you're in. The time has come. Sorry, Alex.
That's all right. But yeah, there's lovely aquariums, lovely aquascapes that are Blackwater that embrace algae and biofilms in the aquarium, but it's still pristine in a way that the glass is always kept immaculate. Yeah. You look at it and all that's different is the overall appearance, but it's still that high-end, high-tech, modern look to an aquarium. It's really effective.
I think that's the exciting thing going forward with all these new things and these new styles that are coming out. And there's so many different styles of aquarium keeping now. It's really exciting to see it, because you've got everything from people who want proper Dutch style, full planted, high tech green box, all the way down to when you see I saw a video of festive cichlids living in the wild the other day, and there's plants in there, but all of the plants are covered in biofilm. All the plants have got bits of algae and bits of bacteria and stuff growing over them. The bottom is covered in a muddy, silty, sandy bottom with then loads of leaf litter
One
in it.
flick of a fish's tail and it's all pluming up, and
and there's everything in between, and you can do a tank that's sort of planted, but you just scatter a few leaves in to naturalise it. And I think that's cool. Going back 30 years, well, not even 30 years, when I started in the hobby hobby 15 years ago, 18 years ago, we wouldn't have sold a bag of leaves to someone to throw in their aquarium because it's A, going to turn their water brown, and B, it's going to go a bit mucky. Oh, no.
It just shows how the hobby's progressed, though, hasn't it? And the understanding of the natural habitat, and you want to recreate that in your home.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's like we've said before about journeys, and and I sort of get what you were saying earlier, Paul, about I don't think I could choose one tank, one fish. It's just such a fluid thing, fluid fish keeping. It's just there's so many different things to explore. Certainly in the car yesterday, we were talking about it doesn't matter if you want an aquarium with a SpongeBob ornament in or a Blackwater aquarium or a river aquarium or what. It doesn't matter. Everybody's getting their own personal joy out of the aquarium, be it fluorescent gravel and a skull and plastic plants. If you're getting what you want out of fish keeping by doing that, fabulous.
Great.
Great.
Fish are happy.
It's just the interest, isn't it? It's the, I was relaying a story to somebody the other day. I was in a waiting room and they had this old jewel aquarium in there. And every single person that came through that door walked up to that aquarium and peered into the glass. And people just sat near it. The chairs that were furthest away were empty. Everybody just kind of congregated around this because it was just a point of interest. And I think, that there is so much going on in an aquarium. Like I say, it's constantly moving a different shoal of fish. And it's why people are in this hobby.
Yeah, it always used to be a thing, didn't it? That dentists, doctors, waiting rooms generally, there was usually an aquarium in it because of the stress relieving properties that we all know about. Because that's why we're here.
It's been scientifically proven now. Of course, I saw it in a newspaper a little while ago that fish keeping's meant to lower blood pressure or something by a certain.
It says that on one of the lorries that picks up from us, doesn't it? Is it ALS truck? I think
it's the ALS truck.
It says it's proven to.
I saw it in one of the newspapers. I was like, okay, cool. That's
well-being, and it gives you a point of focus as well. I think as well, people are struggling through different challenges in their life. If you have a point of focus and you feel attached to what you're doing,
it also gives you a bit of responsibility and structure to your life. Okay, my maintenance schedule, whatever it may be, is this, and I know on this day I get to spend an hour doing something I enjoy.
Maintenance Mondays.
Maintenance Mondays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think it's so important. So whatever context or whatever level of the fish keeping journey that you're on, I think stick with it.
As long as the fish are being kept well and they're healthy, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
I think that's it. I think that's what I try and convey. That's why I try and push myself out of, like I used to be when I was first, I used to be all about cichlids, and it would be big tanks with big rocks, and that'd be about it. It was all South American cichlids. And now I'm like, I'm setting up a 60-litre tank with minnows in it, and I'm setting up, and I've kept some, kept certain fish like that before, but that's why I want to show people that you can do a tank with just boulders in and a few anubias and chuck a load of barbs in there. It will look good. And then you can do a Blackwater tank with wood coming out the top. And all these different tanks are just so much fun to build and mess around with and find your style.
And I think you're right. You do find a lot of people find their style, like Alex with his Blackwater. Paul's just all about a river tank here. And there's so many people that just sort of almost define themselves as I'm a cichlid keeper or I'm a fancy goldfish keeper. I think it's just at that time that's what you do. Actually, I saw some brilliant fancies as well yesterday.
Where was I? I was somewhere the other day and I saw some. Is it Wakin?
Wakins, the little tri-tailed Chinese goldfish.
Yeah, they were beautiful colours, and it was one of those fish that I travel about and I'll go in there quickly, and there's a whole tank of them. I'm like, have I got a space for 4 of them somewhere? And
that's why you can't have one tank. It's impossible. As soon as you go to a shop and you're like, oh.
Bristol Shabunkins is another one I saw a little while ago, and they were phenomenal.
Being from the West Country, we've got a certain affinity to a Bristol Shabunkin anyway. There was a store actually in Bristol that had some real pure strain Bristol Blues. There's so many around that have been a bit like we were saying about earlier with Crucians that have been subbred, and they're not a true Bristol Blue. And there was this shop and it had like 4 of them, and they were like 30 quid each for a 2-3 inch fish. but they were just.
You could just see the
outstanding.
body shape. Though I remember seeing a photo of those ones, and the body shape was lovely, and the tail shape was lovely.
Heart-shaped tail, and yeah.
But those goldfish we saw when we were out in Shanghai, I mean, they were incredible.
There's a local gentleman to you that breeds Bristol Blues.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's down near you somewhere. I've got his phone number at home. Because again, if I get chance and I've got a pond somewhere, he breeds them every year, and his stock are lovely.
Because again, Bristol Blue, you used to see them in every aquatic shop when I was a kid.
Yeah, you did.
You go to a pond shop or a store selling pond fish. I was lucky to have several. One of the biggest ones in the country is no longer with us, unfortunately. But you'd go there and there'd be thousands of Bristol Blues, and people, obviously, again, from the West Country, like 15 miles outside Bristol, it was like catnip to fish keepers because I want Bristol shabunkins in my pond.
But it's funny because it's almost like the goldfish side of the pond world has almost been dumbed down to... Like, you don't get... Like, when I saw the wakids or wackins, I was like, oh, my word, you don't see them anywhere. But they were alongside the standard £2 canary yellows, and they were next to the standard red goldfish. And I think the goldfish pit has been, like, almost dumbed down to, like, we stock yellow, red and white, and shabunkin. Yeah. But whereas if you did stock the Bristol Blues at £30 each, and those were 22 quid each, I think there is a trade for them.
But has the retailer's stocking just evolved to the market around him and what the demand is?
This is it. But if you give the customers that option of a £30 shabunkin, which to a normal person coming into the hobby, well, that shabunkin's £3 and that's 30. Like, where's the difference? But to someone who's been in the hobby for 10, 15 years, they're like, I want 90 quid's worth of Bristol shabunkins, please.
I think you see it with koi, though. I mean, people will be, even people that aren't necessarily fish people that want a koi pond, they will pay the money for the best quality koi if it's what they want. And I can see people doing, I don't quite have the size pond for a koi, but I want something a bit fancier. Yep. Paying the money if they're available.
The problem with a £30 shabunkin, though, is that they're just as easy to swallow by the heron as a £3 shabunkin. So you've got to make sure if you are investing in your livestock, you've got some sort of...
I've never had a problem with herons, ever, in any of my ponds. Ever. Really? Never. Never had one visit a garden, never lost a fish to a heron.
I've had heron, and bless her, my old next-door neighbour, the daughter was quite young. This heron had perched up on the fence and was eyeing up my pond. And little girl next door came running out into a garden. She was like, Mummy, there's a phoenix on the fence. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. And this heron was like, I ain't a phoenix.
When I worked in retail, I had this woman come in who bought this plastic heron as a deterrent. And she stomped through the door, slammed on the counter. She said, I want my money back, it doesn't work. And I said, well, how do you know it doesn't work? She said, because this morning the heron had flown into my garden and was trying to mate with it.
Yeah.
That might be it. Okay, no problem, there's your money back. Sorry to have inconvenienced you.
I know they're a nightmare, but but I think that's the cool thing with fish keeping is it takes all sorts, and that's why I don't like seeing people, pooing on. I don't like fancy goldfish. We're all fish keepers. We're all in the same hobby. We should all unite into one little group and push forward. Into
one big group.
Saying about fancies, we were lucky enough to go to China International Pet Show in December of last year. And alongside that was the All Asia Fancy Goldfish Show. And some of the fancies there were just incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely staggering fish. And it's something that we used to see a lot of, certainly through the 90s, really good quality Arandas and Ranchus and Ryukins and, all these different species of fancy gold, not species, but, varieties of fancy goldfish. Yeah. And you just don't see them anymore, and it's kind of sad in a way.
Again, it's dumbing down, isn't it? It's almost like we've got a tank of mixed fantails over there for £10 each, but the really nice colour form of Ryukin or something that was 20 quid, we haven't got that anymore. And it's like a dumbing down that I've seen in a few shops now, which is weird.
Yeah, what I don't like as well, and I hear it quite often, somebody will come into a shop and they'll be talking about their pond and, I've only got goldfish in it. No, actually, a goldfish is a beautiful thing. You get a really good quality goldfish, and I think they're stagnant. I think they're great.
There's a reason everyone knows them and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's because they're great fish. The same like white cloud minnows that you talked about earlier. They're a beautiful fish. There's a reason they're a staple in the hobby.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to look past those fish that are always available in every shop because you go, it's another tank of those. I'll just walk past that. Just walk past that.
I set up a pond in the shop once, and I literally said, everyone was a bit like, "Oh, really? You're going to do that?" I said, "I'm putting all Sarasa comments in there. I'm just having red and white Sarasa comment. Don't you want to do koi? Nope. I just want 50 or 60 good size red and white Sarasa comments working as a shoal. It would look amazing." And everyone was a bit like, "Oh, I'm not sure." And we'd done it, and it looked amazing because you'd feed it, and it was just this cloud of red and white stripes and spots would come up. And some of the guys were like, "This is one of my favourite ponds now because of the way it is." And it's just, I think that was cool. Just really simple, really uniform. It wasn't mixed and muddled.
I think we found your one tank, one fish.
Yeah, I'd do that. Yeah. And then I remember falling out with a staff member there. And I'm still friends with him now, but he said to me, he's like, "I'm going to put a canary goldfish in there when you're on day off." I went, "You're not." He went, "I am. I'm going to put a canary goldfish in there." I'm like, "You're not. You don't do it. I've told you 3 times." And I was the manager. He was, I think, weekends or maybe just turned full time. Glyn. Watch you. And I came back.
He's still coming for you.
Yeah, I know. I still would. Well, I don't know. He's grown up now. I probably wouldn't take him on now.
Goes back to that bully thing.
It does. Yeah. But no, he on my day off, I came back in after my day off, and there's my lovely group of 50 or 60 Sarasas. This one yellow canary in the middle. And do you know what? I phoned him up and he came in. He came in very sheepish and caught it out. It was a big pond, like 12 foot by 8 foot pond as well. It was a nightmare to catch it out. But I literally phoned him and I was fuming. I don't know why. Just one of those things that just presses your button. And that was it. It pressed my button and I was livid.
Your creation had been messed with.
Oh, yes, yeah. And then the year after they started spawning, and then we had all sorts of things. I went back. I think I left the shop for a bit to go and work in another shop, came back like 2 or 3 years later, and there's just like all sorts of random colours because they've been spawning, and there's a few browns and blacks and, yellows and all sorts there. And I was like, yeah, great.
Remind me when we break, I'll text Matt's wife Katie and get her to put some random fish mixes in his tank when he gets home.
She would. Yeah.
I remember in one of the shops we had a tendency to hide little fake ornaments in a coral tray. And just like, there'd be all these lovely hammer corals and stuff like that, like really expensive pieces, and then there's just like this weird panda just there. And the amount of customers that came in and laughed definitely outnumbered the amount of customers that came in and complained about it. A few were like, "What are you doing? This is a coral tray."
Yeah.
And they're fuming about it. Especially like Christmas, we put a Christmas tree in the coral tray or something like that. It's just a bit of fun, and just like, again, fish shops, you get families coming in to have a look. And you can see the joy on kids' faces and stuff when, they've put a Christmas tree in there, and it's just a bit of fun. But some people don't like that.
No.
And clearly you're one of those.
No, I'd be fine with that. It was randomly, this pond just got me. I don't know why. It looked so uniform, and I think it was just my OCD that was just like, you can't put a yellow one in there. It just can't. Like, if you put 30 yellow ones in there and 30, I think that would look quite cool.
Yeah.
But not one. No, I couldn't cope.
Cool. Thank you very much. Sorry for digressing there slightly, David.
I can't remember what the question was.
The question of biohome filter media.
Oh, yeah.
I think the answer that we sort of said at the start of that was none of us used it, but as long as you're replacing any nutrients, then go for it.
Use the health of the plants as your guide. Yeah. They'll show you if they're missing something.
Perfect.
It's the same with carbon, though, isn't it? Like, people are always like, "Oh, carbon in an aquarium with plants," but like, just watch the plants. If they start to struggle, then take it out, and then
Cool. Okay. At Simon Buys, can a single jewel cichlid be kept as a centerpiece fish in a peaceful community aquarium? I heard about their insane aggression, but is this the case when they're not housed with others of the same species, when there's no chance of breeding? Single jewel cichlid in a community aquarium.
Yeah, it'll be a thug. Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, like, But some fish do calm down when you keep them singularly because they're not looking to breed. But other fish actually get more aggressive because then they're going out and looking, and they're like a bit like keeping tiger barbs. If you keep 3 tiger barbs, they're going to go and try and swim with other things, and they'll start biting and fighting in amongst other fish that might not be as hardy to it. And sometimes it's the same with cichlids, is if they've not got that other partner in there, they'll actually go out and be worse. But I wouldn't trust a dual cichlid in much, to be honest.
It's one of those, you can have a community aquarium that is carefully designed to be suitable.
Yes.
But if you're thinking a community aquarium with slow-moving gouramis, guppies and stuff, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I think he's going to cough, so it's all right. He's just gone off. There it is.
Oh, it's one of those moments where it's just like, I'm going to cough and I can't stop it, and now my eyes are watering. Yeah.
You're all right, sausage.
Yeah, no, I'm all right.
But no, community tanks it's quite a broad spectrum name, isn't it? A community aquarium could be a community, like you say, for guppies. It could be a community of Malawi cichlids. It could be a community of stingrays.
Yeah.
So
to me, a community is just multiple species of fish.
if you build...
Probably not from the same area. So if you can have multiple species of the same fish from the same river, then it becomes a biotope.
Yeah.
But if they're not found together in the wild, then it's just a community aquarium.
Yeah, that's it.
It can be a themed community aquarium, but it's still a community aquarium.
So we'd say dual cichlid maybe not the best choice for a centrepiece fish.
Yeah, it depends on your community. If your community is tiger barbs, mascara barbs, all those big chunky fish, maybe even like Buenos Aires tetra, all those bigger, more robust tetras and barbs, it probably would do all right in a big enough tank. If your community tank is neons and things like that, I wounned trust it, and I'd go for something else.
Right, at your old shop, you had that big, is it 8 foot?
8 foot African tank. So we had Congo tetras, long Finderlestes tetra, rope fish, then a group of jewels, a group of crebensis.
They were like super red jewels or something, weren't
They're
they?
Tucana jewels. So actually they're a lake fish. I didn't realise that, when I started researching them back along, it's Lake Tucana, and they actually come from, it's like a hardwater lake.
So you lied to everyone.
Yeah. Well, I didn't lie. I think we put them in there because we're like, oh, dual cichlid. And then I started researching. I'm like, oh, well, it's fine. They've been bred in captivity. They break out into the rivers around Lake Tucana, so it's fine.
So as far as then a centrepiece cichlid or again, I know we spoke about this in the car yesterday. You have a community aquarium and you want a centrepiece fish or a champion fish. What's your go-to?
So if it's
Depends
red,
on your water parameters.
Because if he likes the red, if you've got a small, I would go red robin gourami because they're Ferrari red, beautiful fish, chilled out, would mix with neons, guppies, all of that sort of stuff fairly happily. If you want something lurking on the bottom that's got that cichlid mentality, I'd go for a cockatoo dwarf cichlid because they've got a good. You can get different reds. You can get triple red, double red, orange, and
They're
way
a bit more chilled out.
Yeah, way more
Especially
peaceful than a jewel.
if you just kept the male, you're not going to have a bickering between the two, and they're going to leave everything alone if they're not breeding.
This is
it's
it.
only when they're breeding that they're going to pick on other fish. So again, probably stay clear of guppies with that soft water, hard water. But yeah.
It was always a thing for people have got a community aquarium full of small fish that they'd reach for a gourami or something like that as like the hero fish or the centerpiece fish. But then I think it evolved and more fish became available. Yeah. Things like festives and the other sort of small to medium friendly cichlids.
Yeah, I always like keyhole cichlids.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, that's it. Keyholes are great little fish, and they're so underrated.
Yeah.
But they're such a cool little fish.
And some of the sort of dwarf flaggercaras and stuff, they're a bit chunkier than a pistogramma, bigger body shape, a bit more of a showpiece fish.
Yeah.
And when they're in breeding colours, they're stunning.
How about rams?
I don't dislike rams, that's all right, but I find them, because they've been bred so much, I just find them a bit finicky. And when people are like, can I keep rams? If you've kept an aquarium for a long time, I'd say, yeah, give it a go. But
they like warm water.
Yeah,
they like it 28 degrees upwards, really. And I think below that, they can become prone to issues, overbreeding, disease. I
find people having more problems with them. If you want a ram, go for the Bolivian ram.
Yeah.
Because they are way more hardy and you get good colour, but I feel like if you take your eyes off of a ram, like a normal ram, if you take your eyes off of it and you don't necessarily water change or something goes, they're going to be the first ones to show you. Whereas a lot of the other fish are more forgiving.
I think you said cockatoo cichlids earlier, one of you. I think Agassiz, the other apistogrammas, just fabulous little. Brilliant
I really like the
cichlids.
Borellii as well.
Yeah.
And they're actually great in that they can tolerate quite cooler waters. So the opposite of rams, they can go down to sort of room temperature.
Yeah.
So I know some shops have them on their sort of temperate systems in that actually modern homes these days don't drop much below 18 degrees. So you pop a heater in there just to set it at 18 just to make sure that those cold winds don't drop that low. That'll be fine.
I've been watching a lot of my tanks recently, like plugging into heaters and stuff and checking how often they're turning on. My house, because there's like a lot of tanks in there. The whole house just runs at like 20, 22 degrees. My boy's room the other day when it was cold was 25 degrees because one of my fish rooms is next to his room. So like it is literally just like baking and my heaters don't turn on.
Yeah.
Like that water holds the heat.
My fish room is in the garage and it's insulated and the heaters don't turn on very often. No. The room's not heated. It's 24 degrees.
Yeah.
Balmy in there.
Nice. So I think the sort of message from that one is maybe a jewel might be a little bit on the aggressive side.
Depends on the community.
Have a look at maybe a pistogramas or the smaller cichlids.
Did he say what fish he's got in there or not?
No.
No, just said community aggressive.
Peaceful community.
Yeah, I'd say I look at a lot more of the pistogramas.
Yeah, I wouldn't class them as a peaceful community fish.
No.
A community fish, but probably a larger community fish.